Hey friends, welcome to the Angie Ambrosetti Show. Let her out to play. I'm Angie, your host, a teenage mom turned multi-six-figure earner, married to the same man for nearly 40 years. I'm a homeschooling mom of 7 and totally unqualified, at least on paper, but wildly called by God. Remember, He doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Here, we are going to talk about it all. Healing from the hard stuff, building a business with heart, raising a big family, walking in faith, and finally breaking free from the lies that said we weren't enough. So if you're ready to stop playing small, shake off the doubt and the shame, and step fully into who you were created to be, girl, you are in the right place. Let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Angie Ambrosetti Show. As always, I'm really excited. And today, I'm super excited for today's conversation. I have my sweet friend, Kendra Cooke, with me today. And I'm telling you, guys, you are going to love her. She's a speaker, she's a coach, she is a best selling author who helps women step into their purpose, simply their lives and build success without burnout. You know, none of us want that burnout, right? She's been doing this for over 17 years, and she has a way of taking what feels like it's overwhelming and making it seem simple and doable. And I just love her heart. I love her story. And I cannot wait for you to hear from her, because when I heard her speak for the first time on stage back in January, I was like, this girl, she is definitely my people. She's my person. I'm so excited to have you on the show today, friend. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I love that introduction. It was a lot of hype, but I appreciate it.
Hey, that's what girlies do, right? We hype up our people, and all of those things, girl, they are 100% true.
Well, thank you so much for asking me to be on your podcast. I'm excited.
You are so welcome. Me too. Okay, I just want to dive right into it. And I would like for you to tell us how you got started, what you're passionate about, and just lay it all out for us.
Well, it's a long story, but I'll give you the cliff notes. I was in real estate, started at 18 years old at the reception desk and worked my way up to own my own brokerage and sell it. But during that time, found myself falling on hard times. One bad month away from bankruptcy and working 80 hours a week and burning the candle at both ends. And knew that I did not have all the answers. And so my husband gave me an ultimatum: fix this issue or I'm out. And so, as a believer, prayed about it and was blessed to end up in a room full of very successful men and women who said, "We can help you." And through that, I thought that I had a money problem. I really had a time. I'm sorry, I thought it had a time problem and I really had a money problem. And so, but really, honestly, both of them go hand in hand because time is money and money is time. So, I was able to really fix my business and my time. And after I got through that and realized how we need other people, I was like, there is a niche here for me, because I am willing to be honest and authentic and share a lot of pain. And women connect with women who are real. And we
Yes.
need mentors to come alongside us and say, "Hey, you're not alone." And I've been there, and these are the steps I took to get out of it. And so when I realized that I could really change more lives in empowerment space and coaching business than I ever would selling houses, I decided to surrender my real estate career and go into this role.
Yeah. Well, don't you find that when women show up real, authentic, without the mask, so to speak, that they love you even more when it's real? Because like in a world of social media, everyone's always wondering, oh, is that what they really look like? Do you ever go see someone for the first time, you meet them in person and you're like, huh, that's not exactly what I thought they looked like, or what, you know what I mean? And
I do.
when you can show up authentically and just share your heart and be like who you really are without all of the hype, it really does something to a woman. It really touches the soul deep down, I feel like.
Well, it makes us feel like we're not alone because
Yeah.
honestly, I was on the hamster wheel of chasing, and I was like, oh, I'm going to catch up. I'm going to get a system in place, and I'm going to quit working so much, or I'm going to fix my money, and I'm not going to have to work so much. And I couldn't see a better way out. And
Mhm.
so I just stayed on that hamster wheel to the point of burnout and almost losing everything. And you have to humble yourself,
Yeah.
right? To ask for help
Mm.
and just wondering, am I going to get somebody who's really willing to help or who's in it for the wrong reason? And so I think the fear of judgment holds a lot of women back from putting themselves in the right room
Mhm.
or for asking for help because we don't want to be judged. Oh, you're not enough or you're broken or we all are. Let's be honest. We all have struggles and broken in one area of my life doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just means I'm falling forward. I haven't figured it out yet. And
Yes.
so, yes, I am looking for women who are painfully authentic that says, hey, I've been there and done that, and I'll help you out too. Let me help you.
Yeah. Well, I often think about Thomas Edison, and how he failed so many times before, like the light bulb, before electricity, right? I think there were 100. I think it was like the 101st time, something like that, when it worked, right? And all those other times it didn't, but he kept on going. And I know that's a lot of your story. That's a lot of my story. And I think one of the reasons why I felt so drawn to you when we met, well, we didn't actually meet, but I heard you speak, is we shared a lot of things from our childhood. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I love this woman already. And then we ended up at the same table together. You connected with my girls. And I was just like, and then just so many more rooms that we have been able to be in together. And I love that. I love when the Lord orchestrates the way that he does. Nothing happens by happenstance or circumstance or luck. Like he puts people where he wants them. And I think that's why I've been so drawn to you.
Yes. Well, and I agree. And sometimes it just takes the courage to go to the room,
Yeah.
right? Some of us as women, um, especially if you've had some things you're not super proud of in your past, or maybe you didn't have a stellar upbringing. It's not something you wanted to repeat or talk about.
Hmm.
We don't go to those rooms because we're like, somebody's going to ask us a question. We're either going to lie or we're going to hide.
Yeah.
And neither one of those things benefit anyone. And so, I just feel like when we show up and we share, we'll change each other's lives. And you and
Hmm.
I, talked off camera a few days ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, our stories are really parallel. And
Yeah.
then you read something else in my book and you text me afterwards, you're like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
I think that it's so good for us to find out that we're not alone,
Hmm.
that our stories can be parallel. And you know what? I give my parents all the credit. They did the best they could. And the
Yes.
number one thing that I thank my parents for every day is life.
Yeah.
I am so grateful that they gave me life,
Yeah.
and they're both come from humble backgrounds, and they're both still alive. They're 80, and they're still hardworking, and I'm so grateful for it. But I don't know that there's a lot of people that would write a book that say my childhood was flawless and perfect, and
Yeah.
so you can waller in that or you can
Hmm.
get up and get out of that.
Yeah.
And I just knew that I did not want to stay in the small town and I wanted to go make something bigger for myself. Doesn't mean it wasn't hard, doesn't mean I didn't fall and struggle, but yeah, I'm grateful for the life I have, but I'm also more grateful for the life I have now.
Right, right. And that's the thing is that, I see a lot of things on social media where people talk about why is everyone blaming their parents, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, be thankful that you have life,
Yes.
period. No matter, and I know, some people have gone through worse things than others, but I love that perspective of thinking, like, you know what? Your parents did the best they could. My parents did the best that they could. And it, like it made me who I am today. It makes us resilient and wanting to do things different. Like you said, like you love the life you had, but you had the life you had, but now you love what you're doing now and how you're helping women, how you've come out of that. And same girl, same, right?
Yeah.
And in the process of me writing a book, I'm like, wow, I have to really stop and think about the fact I am so grateful that my parents gave me life and they did the best they could
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
resources they had. And thinking about my own adult children, I'm like, my kids are probably like, huh, okay, well, my mom could have done better on this, this, and this. And that's okay. Like, it's okay. Hopefully, they're standing on my shoulders and their dad's shoulders. And they're like, we're just going to do it a little bit better because we want them,
Yes.
obviously, to do it a little bit better.
Yeah, and I talk about this in my book, but I had a lot of shame and guilt that I carried for working a lot of hours, and I didn't miss anything major, but I missed a lot of practices and a lot of nights at home doing homework. And so thankful that my husband, was there and good for that. But it all came to fruition when my son told me when he was graduating college, Mom, you taught me three things. I was watching.
Yeah.
And the three things that he taught me, you taught me how to work hard. Hardworking people get paid back. I'm being paid back and rewarded for all this hard work. And his college career didn't start off perfect. And
Yeah.
so he struggled a little bit, but I just was like, stay in the game, fight for what you want. And he graduated with his master's degree. So the first thing he said I taught him was hard work. The second one was how to manage his money. He
Mm,
graduated with no debt. And so he'd worked the summer and used that as his spending money and not racked up a lot of student loans and debt, and was super grateful that he had that background in money. Breaking generational curses with money
right.
is a big passion I have. And then the third thing they said is, you taught me how to love the Lord.
Yeah.
And at that point, standing in his kitchen in his little apartment that we were able to pay for him to go to get his master's degree, I just sobbed and I was like, oh my gosh, and no more guilt and shame, because he
Yeah.
was watching and there were so many good lessons
Hmm.
that he learned from me. Maybe not all of them perfect. I did the best I could, just
Yeah.
as my parents did. But you'll be surprised as our kids get older how they come back to us and they're like, you were so right. And thanks
Yeah.
for doing this. And it's like, oh, thank goodness I wasn't all bad.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, we're never all bad. I know for us, we homeschooled our kids and we have our youngest who is a senior this year. And all of our kids were pretty much, they were all good. They never really wanted to do anything other. But I had this one child who did not want to be homeschooled. Like he was always, oh, I want to go back to school. I'm going to go back to school. I hate being homeschooled. But when he got through graduate school, he came back and said, thank you. Like,
Mm,
it was the best thing for me, and I think it's just those moments of the appreciation or those words of confirmation, like he's giving you that, "Thank you that you showed me how to manage my money and how to be hardworking, and most importantly, how to love the Lord."
right. It's our number
Because
one job.
yeah, without that, I mean, I would have been gone a long time ago without the Lord.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
For
Yes.
sure. Well, tell us a little bit about your coaching. I know that you do retreats, and I love that you just had one recently, and I would have loved to have been there if I hadn't had other obligations, but I've heard some really great things, and I would just love for you to share with our audience a little bit about that.
Yeah, so coaching for me obviously changed my real estate career. And at that point, I said, you know what? I'm always going to help other people. And the way to be able to do that is go back and teach people what you do really well.
Mhm.
And I know people say to me, there's a million coaches. How do you pick a coach? I always say, find the coach that's been where you want to go.
Yeah.
I never wanted to follow someone who hadn't done what I had was trying to get to, because how did they have the path to get me there?
Yeah.
So I would always encourage people, find somebody who closed as many houses as you want to, and go ask them how they did it. Let them coach you on that. And
Mhm.
so coaching really changed my real estate world and my business and my money and my time. But once I decided to be done with real estate and real estate coaching, I was like, I still love seeing people's lives changed through habits and systems and structure and discipline. And I'm like, you know what? I can teach women how to manage their schedule. Hence why I created the Daily Well with my business partner, Julie. I can teach people how to manage their money with a really simple path to prosperity. Write down what you spend, write down how much you have coming in. What are you saving? And so a lot of the principles that I learned in my business, women primarily need in our lives every day.
Yeah.
And so how to get it all done, how to pour into ourselves so we can pour into other people. We can't pour from an empty cup. Finding peace. Right now, there's so much comparison and AI taking over, and everybody looks amazing in 25 and all these things. And we're looking around saying, well, I'm going to dim my light
Yeah.
so that person can shine brighter. And so I'm 48 hours off of a retreat with 18 ladies, and it was permission granted, was
Mm.
the title. And the permission granted was to stop living on autopilot, to stop dimming your light. You know, Permission granted to be seen, step into your power. And if you want to start a podcast, start a podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to be number one in your industry, go get it. Like,
Yeah.
stop waiting for somebody to build a table and provide you a seat. Go build
Mhm.
your own table and drag up your own chair. And then nobody can take it away from us.
Yeah.
And so I just love pouring into women and seeing their success and celebrating their breakthroughs. And so the coaching led into the retreats. I've been doing retreats for 3 years. And it's a blessing. I get to do what I absolutely love. And people are like, "Are you going to work tomorrow?" And I'm like, "No, I'm going to passion tomorrow. I'm going to do my passion tomorrow, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to work because it
Oh,
doesn't feel like work to
mm.
me."
Yeah. My husband has said for many, many years, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
And we get in the habit of saying work because it's what we do, right? Or we get in the habit of saying, oh, we're going to church. But like church is the people, it's not the building. But we
That's
get
right.
those habits underneath our tongue and we just repeat them over and over. But yes, I love that. Talking about passion and what you love to do and
Mhm.
filling people, filling their cups.
Well, and life is short. And people say to me all the time, "I want to do this, but I have to earn a living." And I'm like, start a side hustle.
Yeah.
Do this on the side. I mean, coaching was my side hustle. Real estate was paying our bills, but I knew it was crystal clear to me that eventually I just wanted to pour into people full time. So I had to hustle and get my career and my financials established so I could go over here and do this. And
Mhm.
so I was willing to do it part time just to keep my toe in the water. And so um, don't let your past hold your future hostage. Like, work really hard, save your money, and then go pursue your passion. And surprisingly enough, a lot of times our passion makes us more money than our job will, because we spend more time here because we love it
Yeah.
and we're rewarded for our gifts. And so don't ever quit on your dreams or your legacy by putting your passion on the back burner, because this pays the bills. Figure out
Mhm.
how to do both to
Yeah.
where you can get rid of the job and go to the passion. And I promise you, if you're living in your purpose, the money will come.
Yeah.
The money will come.
For sure. Yes. So one of the things that my husband and I talk about a lot is that like we're both self-employed and we have three different businesses between us and just loving the fact that he can do what fills his cup. I can do what fills my cup. We do something together and it really pushes us forward. And our kids are seeing that. We still have three at home. And so for them to see that it's not like 8 to 4 or 9 to 5, it's those things. And as entrepreneurs, like we probably work more than 40 hours a week, but it doesn't feel like work. Cause like you said, it's something that we love doing. And even like with this podcast, it's not a job, right? I'm not getting paid for doing the podcast, but I love doing it because I love interviewing women who have like pulled themselves up basically from their bootstraps and they've said, I'm going to do something a little bit different, or they're able to speak. So for me, being able to speak, uh, about the things from my past or what held me back. Like you were just talking about how so many times people are, they're a little bit scared or they dim their light, and I found myself doing that so much. And he's always like pushing me out to the light, go out there and do those things. But just having that passion of what lights us up, man, it like gets me out of bed every morning to be like, okay, today I've got a podcast recording. Today I'm going to help someone with their health or whatever that looks like. And I love it. It just really like makes me bubbly inside.
Yeah, and I am sad for the women that don't have that in their life. So the retreat sometimes helps women find what that passion is. And we had a big breakthrough with a young lady this weekend, and she's had this podcast name like patented or copywritten or whatever you do. And she's got that all the Instagram handles and everything. And she's like, "I'm just waiting." And I'm like, "What are you waiting for?"
Yeah.
Like, nothing comes to those who wait. I'm like, I'm the complete opposite. I get an idea and I get the plane in the air and then I'm building it on the way down, because if I wait, somebody's going to get ahead of me and do
Yeah.
something that I really want to do, and then I'm going to be super disappointed.
Yes.
And it's like, nothing, don't wait. We're not promised tomorrow. We're not given, any guarantees in life. And if you have a passion or a dream, go build it, go do
Mhm.
it.
I think it's Mel Robbins that she says, "Stop waiting." I just remember hearing her talk about, and she would just like yelling, "Stop
Yeah.
waiting." And I'm like, Yes, stop waiting. I had actually talked about doing a podcast for a couple years before I ever did it. And I was on stage in 2025 at the Align event that we met at this year. I was talking about my life coaching, and it came out of my mouth, I'm launching a podcast. And I seriously looked around. I was like, who said that? Like, who actually said that? But I guess it was the Lord speaking through me, like, girl, you need to say this in front of these people so that you've said it and then you're going to go do it.
Mhm. Yeah, and you're probably leading the charge for a lot of women from your coaching group that want to do a podcast but have fear around it, or, blockage in their brain of you can't do that, or we don't have the equipment, or it's expensive, and you can answer a lot of those questions
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
them, because you've already done it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of the coaching and the mentoring and the retreats is when we can say, hey, I did this, it failed, but I did it a different way and it worked.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to try something.
Hmm.
Get out. I call it getting out on the skinny branches. Like,
Yeah.
go on the skinny branches. If they break, it's okay,
Yeah.
but you got to get on the branch. You got to go,
Yeah.
you
Because you
know?
can you can start climbing again, right?
Yes.
And the first couple, with businesses that we've done or with launching the podcast, whatever it has been, like everything doesn't go perfect when you start. But most of the time, people don't go back to the beginning and look and see how you got started. They're just like
Yes.
picking up wherever you are.
Yes.
You know
Well,
what I
and
mean?
I learn more from my struggles than I do from my strengths,
Yeah.
right? Because when I struggle, it forces me to dig a little bit deeper. Like, what did I do wrong and how can I do better? And is there a tool I can use? Versus when we succeed at something, we're like high five and keep on going. We drive right through the victory. And I talk
Mhm.
about this a lot. We need to slow down and celebrate the victories, but we also need to dig in when something doesn't work and there's a struggle to figure out what went wrong and how do we fix it, versus just quitting and say it'll never work, because
Yeah.
there's more than one way to get anything done.
Yeah.
So if the first one doesn't work, try the second. You will succeed if you're passionate about it and you stay in the fight.
Yeah. Yeah. My husband always says success is the worst teacher.
Yeah.
Failure is where we learn because then we,
100%.
as long as we pick back up and we start again and we're like, oh, well, we're not going to do that again. We're not
Hmm.
going to do it that way again. We're going to do it. We're going to change up the way that we do it so
Yeah,
that, we're learning from those failures and moving forward to success.
exactly.
For sure. So, well, tell us a little bit about your personal life. So, I didn't even mention that really when I was introducing you, but tell us about, I know that you're married and you have children. Give us a little bit of background about that.
Yeah, so Greg and I, second marriage for me, first for him. And I was married for a short time to an addict and was
Mhm.
able to get out of that situation quickly. But we'll be married 30 years, May 11th. And we have a 27-year-old son, Corey. And he is back in Nashville, went through, got his graduate degree, a master's degree out of grad school, and went back to Nashville, which is where my real estate career primarily was. And then my husband has a daughter, Chloe, and she is a Marine reservist and she is in San Diego and she is 30, about to be 31. And we live in Tampa, Florida. So we met in Nashville, Tennessee, raised our families there. And then I went to Charlotte for 6 years after I sold my real estate career and was a coach for the core training, an elite coaching company for real estate agents and lenders, and traveled the country and ran their realtor division. And then about almost 4 years ago, we just knew that we wanted to be in Florida when we retired. And I still had another year left on my contract. And my husband's like, let's just go visit. And I walked in a house on a whim and bought it. And so that kind of sped up our timeline a little bit. But we are so happy here. I tries, is a tough word for me. I don't like to say I try, but primarily I work 3 days a week and maybe 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day. But I have a really tight schedule. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with traveling and speaking and, my coaching students and everything. But it gives us the lifestyle we want. So we're big golfers. We walk in our neighborhood. We're foodies, all the
Yeah.
things. But we've created a really nice life. So my husband and I are here, and yeah, so we've been here just living here full time just over 3 years.
Yeah.
So
I love that. So, are your retreats that you do, are they do you host those in Florida? Usually, I mean, mainly?
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
primarily they're in Orlando. So there's a resort called the Evermore, and they have big houses. And so we all get to stay together. It's like a big pajama party. And, but we do yoga, all of our food's included. We have a hospitality assistant that lives in the house with us. And we get dolled up one night. But other than that, we're just in workout clothes, shorts, really
Yeah.
working, digging in. So, yeah, but it's in Orlando. And I do those in March and October. And then this October, my girls challenged me a couple years ago, we should go abroad. So we are going to Barcelona in
Oh,
October.
yes.
So
I
yeah,
love that. I was looking, I don't know if I was looking at your website or where I saw that, or maybe we talked about it when we were at the TEDx
yes,
talk recently, but I was like, oh my goodness, of course. So I'm gonna have to look at the dates because I
yes,
my husband and I are going to we're going to Italy for the first time in
fun.
October. But I'm like, oh, if I can squeeze that in, like I am a traveler and my husband is all on board with that. So as long as he's on board with it, then I'm like, totally fine, we're doing it. But
Yes,
that sounds super fun. And so then you'll do your next one in Orlando, which will be 2027.
March. 20
Okay.
March of 2027. Yes.
Awesome.
And
Yay.
you can just watch my website for the dates. I have a calendar on there, so I post everything on there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one more question before we end our call for today. Do you still do coaching with people that are in real estate? Because honestly, I have a lot of friends in my community who are, they're realtors. And, I don't know. I just thought it might be, advantageous if that was something that you still do or whatever. I just thought I'd ask the question.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. Absolutely, yes. Um, my mastermind group is more mindset and systems and structure around life, if you will.
Mhm.
I still work with some realtors on a consulting level. Usually they bring me a problem, and within 90 days, we can solve it, create a system, get them patched up and put back together. And so
Yeah.
they're shorter term. But yes, absolutely. I have several that I work with right now currently, and we're just creating a hiring guide or policy and procedure analysis, or really digging into their database, cleaning it up, or working on their scheduling. So yes, I primarily work on prospect, building a team, and counting the money is really the main three things that I coach a realtor on. So
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, hopefully, my friends that will be listening to the podcast will hear that and maybe they can make a connection with you. But I just thought of one other thing that I do want to mention. I want you to touch on this before we go is your book and then your schedule. I see your scheduling planner in the background and I would love for you to tell us about those two things cuz like I read your book, I love it. I was actually driving to see you in person and my girlfriend was in the car. She read the first 4 chapters as we were driving. And then I came home and finished it all up on Audible. And I was like, okay, we've got to talk about that book today too.
well, Embrace and Power Evolve, which is right over here. It is my memoir. It's my life, good, bad, ugly, lessons learned, success stories. And I married it with my passion of journaling. I'm an avid journaler. And
Mhm.
so I think that a lot of people ask me when they know that I'm a journaler, like, how'd you get started? And what do you journal about? And what does that look like? And so once I read the book, I was like, you know what? I think this is a good way to teach and bridge the gap between my life story and journaling. And so there's journaling prompts at the end of each chapter, asking some hard questions, things that I talked about in the chapter that I overcame or that you might struggle with, that I had struggled with. And so it's a soft workbook. It's only 112 pages. It's a quick read. It's also on Audible. So you can get that on Amazon. Really, really proud of the difference that's made in a lot of people's lives. And then the Daily Well, which is this purple spiral notebook over my shoulder, is a planner for women. And my business partner, Julie Davis, and she came to one of my retreats. And at the end of the retreat, she's like, I think I want to create this planner. And it had been on my heart to do that as well and on my vision board. And so we collaborated on our first edition, which came out at the end of last year. It is a 6 month planner for women, and it's for your whole life. It's your to do list, it's your workflow, it's your journal prompts, it's your discipline habits, if you will, for your morning, like hydrate, what diet you're doing, moving your body, sacred pause.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of places in there for notes. We have like 2025. Mine sits right here in my book. Actually, all my notes are on it. But there's a bunch of note pages in the back, and you can keep this as a shelf life for years to come to go back to your notes if you were at a seminar or an event. And then the last piece that's in there that I'll touch on is the path to prosperity, which really teaching ladies how to budget and how to live within a budget, especially if you're trying to create a side hustle or you're trying to save money or you're trying to get out of debt. It is a very simple form that will not overwhelm you, but will really give you some clarity and get out of the chaos around your money, because there's so much chaos for ladies
Yeah.
usually around money.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't talked about in our home growing up. Maybe they were in a relationship with a partner who managed the money, and still does, or maybe they're on their own now and they're like, "Who, I don't know what I'm doing." So
Yeah.
the new edition will come out in May. So they run January to June, and then July to December. And our next edition will be out May 1st. So you can just follow Daily Well Planner on Instagram. Or you can just follow me. I post a lot of the same stuff, which is just Kendra Cooke. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's what I was going to ask. The very last thing is tell us how we can get in touch with you.
Yes.
So, friend, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule today to share with us and just basically sit down and have a conversation with me, because every time we talk, I feel like we just have one more connection piece, one more opportunity to get to know each other a little bit better. And I appreciate it so much. So, thank you so much.
And thank you for your beautiful heart. Yes, I'm loving getting to know you and the circle that we're in. I'm just so proud to be a part of. So thank you for asking.
You're so welcome. Thank you, friends, for tuning in today. I will post in the show notes all of the ways that you can connect with my friend Kendra, and you're just going to continue to love her all the more. So we'll see you next time on the Angie Ambrosetti Show. Thank you so much. That's it for today, friends. Thanks for tuning in with me today. I hope today's episode stirred your soul, sparked your faith, and reminded you that your story is far from over. Keep walking in freedom. Keep showing up bold, and never forget, God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. Be sure to leave a review, subscribe, or share this podcast with a friend who needs to hear it as well. Until next time, keep letting her out to play, because the world needs your fire.